Welcome back to the channel, y'all. So this is gonna be another progress build because you've seen this car before too. It's another FMA, but we are flipping it around this time and we are using the FMA chassis. Instead of the motor being in front, we're putting it in the back. So this car, well, I already have a rear anchor designed for this car, rear bumper design, so not much time was spent on that. A lot of time was spent on the front bumper because I wanted to do a single spear anchor design for the front, and I wanted to do a design that was a little different at first, but you're gonna see what happened. And then so we went and we did another design that is off of a MS car that I built that is a winning car from Italy. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what you're about to see in the video. So it is a little long, but it's a fun one. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna be entertained as far as you know, the whole building time goes. And anyways, stay tuned, you'll see. It's gonna be a fun one. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Alright, y'all, so this is about to be the part of the video we're going to talk about gear reinforcement And I want to give a big shout out to MIG X, Miguel de los Santos from Southern California. He came up with this idea. It is, to me, very revolutionary, and it is very simple. Can't believe, to be honest, not that I didn't think of it, but that I don't see other racers sharing this idea. If you have thought of it, or just in general, kind of, I guess it's just not talked about very often, the whole gearing aspect of mini four-wheel drive, because it is kind of secretive. But I don't keep secrets, obviously, and I like to help you guys out in the process of helping myself out. So thank you to MIG X. Miguel, you're awesome, man. You came up with a really cool method here. So big thank you. Well, let's dive on into this. And I'm gonna switch the camera angle to a little lower so you guys have a better view. Alright, we are all camera angled in. So let's dive into this. As you guys know, when you get your gears, it could be the MS gear that has the hexagon in it. Let's get some better light for y'all. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. Alright. So as you know, you put your gear in, your axle, and you got that wobble. This slack right here is what creates even more slack down the road. And also, if you think about it, this, if you have in an MS car, is a big no-no. That's why we try to do the floating gear setup with the plastic on each end. But fine. That one does it. They all do it. You see, they all have that wobble. I'm holding the shaft really sturdy, and it has that wobble. I've tried so many different gears, they all have the same wobble. And the only ones that don't come with this wobble are non-Tamiya gears, which are like Aldi, Okami, high-speed gears from back in the day that I still have because, well, I still have them. Anyways, they don't have the wobble, and it makes sense to not have it in such a high-speed car because it's going at such high speed. You don't want any slack in your drivetrain. You don't want any slack or friction on top of the slack. Slack creates friction. So they gave you, when you bought your gear ratios from these other companies, pre-reinforced gears, which to me is not a modification. As I talked to Migs, he said it's not a modification because you're gonna also be using Tamiya products to make these gears reinforced. So, are you ready? Because this is what you need. You need a drive shaft. Make sure you're using a drive shaft that you're going to be using in your car, meaning if you're going to be using a hollow drive shaft, use hollow drive shaft. You're going to use just a normal drive shaft, use a normal drive shaft, because the thickness of the drive shaft from hollow to regular that come out of the box stock, the box stock ones are a bit thicker, so it does matter. You need 2 of these bad boys. These are weights, pretty hefty weights. Sorry, still not used to doing this hand thing. So you need 2 of these. You're gonna be using this middle hole right here and that's where you're gonna be entering your shaft on both of them. Okay, you're gonna need 2 of these copper guys. Need 2 of these copper guys, and the flat flared end, I guess you could say, is gonna go towards the weight. You're gonna need 2 pretty long screws. Put 2 washers at the end of it. Okay, and now let's start putting it together. So 1 screw goes in one side, 1 screw goes in the other. You got them coming down like that. You got your hole right there in the center, so that's where your shaft is going to come through. I like to put it together as so, because it is a bit tricky. So you get your gear, then you get your copper pieces. 1 goes on one side, the other goes on the other. And you have to make sure you got those flat ends on the outer rim, because this is going to turn into a press. You're going to want to make sure when you press this, you have a straight axle also. You don't want to press it on a crooked axle, because the gear will end up becoming crooked, and there goes a gear. You just wasted it. But let's continue. You slide it on. Slide it on. Kind of take your time to finagle the screws. This is a little extra, but when I first did this, I put a rubber grommet at the bottom of here, so the gear and stuff won't slide out, and I don't have to kind of worry about it, so I can hold it like that. And then you got that rubber grommet down there, just for the time being. And then you get 2 more washers. 1, 2. Then you get 2 screws. 1, 2. Not very difficult of a system to put together. But when you're putting these nuts down with the screws, make sure you put them down evenly until you start to feel some resistance. Then look at the press and be sure. Stop rolling around, jeez. Then look at your press and be sure your threading on the top of each is the same and they're equal in level. You want to keep it level, okay? Anyways, I am doing this pretty damn early in the morning, so I'm a little funky right now. But That's the gimmick, is to make a vise. This thing really doesn't like staying in place. Is to make a vise, and when you complete your vise, you then just crank it down. But when you start cranking it down, it's not just you crank one side. You gotta crank a little bit of one side, a little bit of the other. So you gotta go back and forth and evenly do this. Otherwise, like I said, even if your shaft is straight, because you're cranking down on one side, you will end up damaging, you'll end up damaging your plastic gear. So BRB, we're gonna get this all. So actually, before I BRB, this little rubber thing can come off now because the shaft is pretty much being held in there quite firmly. You don't want it to be too firm in there when you first start out. You want to check and make sure it's sliding good. I didn't do that because I've been talking a lot. But the goal here is to crank it down. So let me crank it down and be right back. Alrighty then. So from the previous clip till now, you could see that there's a lot more thread showing up top here, huh? Oh yeah. The shaft obviously can move, but it has a lot of resistance because it's still in the press, and that's supposed to be how it's supposed to be. But when you take it out of the press, you will then notice what this gimmick really did for you. Remember how we had that slack in the gear and the gear used to fall off? Well, no more of that. You just turn your crown gear into a floating gear. You heard that? How nicely it pops off? It actually has to be pushed on now. Holding the axle nice and firm. No wiggle. I'm actually turning the whole axle, but you could see it. You could see that I am because of the shimmering from my light. And that is what you want. No slack in your drivetrain. You can do this to even MS gears. I did it to an MS gear over here that is an old one. Like I showed you before. Here is a stock MS gear. Look at that. It goes on like hot dog down a hallway. No, just horrible. And then on top of that, you got this play. Modified, I guess you could say, MS gear, or reinforced MS gear, because it's really not a modification. Reinforced MS gear, you actually gotta push it on. And look at that. Nada. No movement. Shimmering, coming straight from axle. All your power now is going to your wheels. Before, you're losing power from your drivetrain before it was actually getting to your wheels. Man, if I knew this trick, let's say even a couple months ago, probably would have taken first in Italy, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. This is a great trick because it's using still Tamiya parts, just weights, copper pieces, nuts, washers, and you get to reinforce your transmission and have it run pristine at top performance. I mean, in the end of the day, you don't want any slack in your gears. So I hope this helped you out. Thank you again, Migs, and go check Migs X YouTube out. He has a couple other cool videos up on there. Give him a message maybe on his Instagram. He has a custom tire, wheel and tire Instagram for Mini 4-wheel drive. He's done my wheel and tires. Pretty much, I would say, good 50% of them. He did these. These are the clear FMA wheel and tire with the stickers behind them. Pretty cool. Anyways, that's about it for this gimmick. Thanks for watching. Alright, we're getting there. We got the gears reinforced. I got the drive shaft reinforced. Alright. Not even broken in. It sounds pretty good. Nice and smooth. Back. This car is around to be, I feel like you could say 75% done, but it's coming along pretty nicely. I ended up going with a rounded sidewall of a tire. They are 8 millimeters wide wheels and 8 millimeter wide tires. So no complaints there for how narrow they are. These wheels are not even cut. These tires are just trimmed up. Got some motor, I guess you could say reinforcement pieces here. I saw someone running that. I'll give it a go. I might not do a carbon motor cover for this one. Maybe not just yet, but this is what the underside is looking like so far. I thought we were coming to an end here, but I went to do, I guess, a second test run of there was reverse FMA build, and I finalized the front bumper. I was very happy with it. I had the sides of the front bumper were sectioned, so I dropped them lower, so the rollers had better, center of gravity. The problem is I guess I countersunk the holes too deep, and that just a little better light, this lighting was doing me right. But I countersunk the holes too deep, and well, in the next pictures, or maybe I put it at the beginning, it delaminated the carbon fiber. So we will be on our way to designing another front end. We're going to be using said pieces because I do like matching my builds, and I don't have any other of the same style bumpers, which is fine because it kind of works out for the best with this build. And I hope you stay tuned to see, because I'm excited and a little bit bummed out. I had to take a break and go get a coffee because it was running really good, and I'm sorry I didn't get video of it. Anyways, on we go with the journey of the reverse FMA build. Alright, so here we are with what happened. At the moment, this is what the delamination looks like. Kind of my fault, like I said, because I countersunk it too deep. You could see it was only like catching on by probably one layer, a layer and a half of carbon. So it lasted 7 laps. 7 laps, and this front end said, no thank you. How do you guys like my new, this is my new front bumper right here. Oh yeah, it's a new gimmick. It's called the bend in and mess your wheel up. That's kind of funny. Anyways, let's get on to building a new bumper. So this is test number 2, bumper version number 2, and hopefully we could get this in one clip, right, babe? Yeah. No more broken parts.
Go.
A little sour on that. Alright, take 2. Let's hope we can do 6 laps without doing the lean sheet.
Go.
Alright, so as great as the car ran in those clips, I did a little overlook of the car after the run, and as you noticed, the body damper that I was using in the build, the body damper on the side goes in between the wheel and the chassis. I used this body damper, to be honest, to get me started on cars, because it's kind of like a motivational piece. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's very squared out. It's a nice piece, so it gets me motivated to get going on building the car. Anyways, it worked good, but because the wheel setup I have is very close to the chassis, the inner of the wheel is actually rubbing on here. So I decided, instead of thinning out the side of here and here so it won't rub, I'm gonna just build a body damper that's not in between the wheels and will stay away. So, well, no rubbing, less friction, and overall a better looking body damper. Since we have such a beautiful car being built, you know, we gotta just carry it through the whole, you know, build. It can't just be a few parts here and there looking good. My saying for all these years, starting from real cars till model racing cars of Tamiya, is that a race car is a show car, and I will stand by that statement any day of the week. So if you can build a good race car, it will always be a good show car. Anyways, take your time with these builds. Every piece, anything you glue together or screw together matters. So we're going back to the body damper and we're going to perfect it so no more rubbing issues. And this will be the last and final piece to the puzzle, and we'll be coming to a close with this video. So thank you for all you guys who's been staying tuned till now. Remember, hit that like and subscribe button. It means the world to me, to us. So thank you.
Okay. Go.
Alright, so we're coming to a close finally on this build. I'm really happy with the test run, second test run that you just saw. I could adjust the dampener, the body dampener, a little bit more so it reacts a little faster, because the car was still jumping. Not as well as I would like, but pretty consistent. I let it go for more than 6 laps. I let it go for 9 because I wanted to see how crazy it was gonna take the lane change and if it was going to come out once it finally built up a lot of speed. And well, it did, and so really happy with that. It held together. Nothing seems to be broken, so I'm very happy. I always like this front setup. It is very simplistic, but that's what Mini 4-wheel drive is all about, is a simple design yet effective. It's just single spear, front and rear, just all carbon work pretty much is what makes the car run so well, is the reinforcement. But thank you guys for tuning in. I know it was a long video. I mean, not too long, right? But it was a pretty decent sized video. But thank you for tuning in, and you know, like, subscribe, comment, share. We love you for it. So until next time, laters.